Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to begin by giving all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham Rakakudash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and Shalom to your brothers that are pushing this word out in truth and sincerity and in charity. I am the brother Abraham from the camp here in GMS Chicago, coming to do another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit. Lord willing, it will be edifying. And this lesson is going to be centered around this article I came across. There's a few of them, but it's on this Utah school who I'm gonna read the ones that are on the screen. Utah school reverses decision to let parents opt their kids out of Black History Month. Okay, Utah parents who opted kids out of Black History Month withdraw request after allowing parents to opt out of Black History Month curriculum. A Utah school is switching the decision. Okay, so you got Edomite parents that don't want their kids learning anything about Black History Month. They didn't want their kids have anything to do with this. Okay, which goes to show you the hatred that Esau Edom has on Jake. Okay, so that's a good scripture to open up with, and we'll go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 35 and 5. So it says, because thou hast had, well, let me start up to, it says, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. Now in the book of Genesis, it goes into saying Mount Seir is the habitation of Esau Edom. Alright, and how Esau Edom is Mount Seir. Okay, so jumping down to verse 5 in Ezekiel 35, it says, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Okay, so Esau Edom, this man, this not just a man, but they're a nation of people as well. They have a perpetual hatred. A perpetual means an everlasting. Alright, enduring forever. So their hatred for us is the same as it was back then, as it was in slavery, as it was in the times since the beginning of Cain and Abel. Okay, did not Cain slew his brother Abel because he was righteous, and because his works and acts wasn't? Okay. Alright, same thing with Esau and Jacob, man. The one hated the other because the other one was righteous, man. And Esau Edom, the so-called white man, hates the children of Israel, which today are the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, and Native American Indians. Okay, so let's read a little bit of this article here. See what it says. Maria Montessori Academy of North Ogden, Utah, came under fire after allowing parents to opt their students out of the Black History Month curriculum. I didn't even think that was possible, where you could have the option to opt out of Black History Month. And first and foremost, fuck Black History Month. Alright, our people are not black. Okay? Our people are not black. First of all, just for the edification's sake, I guess, we'll get the definition. And obviously, it wouldn't give the correct one on Google, so we'll go on Etom Online. The definition for black, it says absolutely dark, absorbing all light. Let's see. Meaning fierce, terrible, wicked, without light. Gloomy, unlucky, bad, wicked, malicious, shrouded in darkness, overcast. The color of sin and sorrow, at least since the 1300s, with dark purposes, malignant, black magic, no mercy. Alright, so you see why during slavery our oppressors put that word on us, okay? You see why they labeled us black, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American, Indians, which means savage. Okay, they put all these terms on us. Okay, there's no nation of black in the Bible. Alright, all the nations in the world are mentioned in the Bible. And not one of them is named black. And not one of them is named white. Okay. So let's continue on. It says a school in Utah is continuing its Black History Month curriculum after parents asked the school to allow their children to opt out of the program. Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden, Utah, after receiving requests from parents, sent out an opt-out form last Wednesday for those unwilling to participate in the school's planned Black History Month curriculum. The school will not reveal how many parents filled out the form. Well, I guess I wonder why. Because all of them did. It says now less than a week later, school director Micah Hirokawa says that all families are participating and the school is no longer offering the option to not participate. Alright. So I guess after, receiving backlash for it, obviously they changed their minds. And he said, quote unquote, celebrating Black History Month is part of our tradition. We regret that after receiving requests, an opt-out form was sent out concerning activities planned during this month of celebration. Hirokawa and the board of directors said in a statement, we are grateful that families that initially had questions and concerns have willingly come to the table to resolve any differences at this time. No families are opting out of the planned activities and we have removed this option. First of all, why is it even an option? So yeah, man, they put them on the spotlight, calling them out, and they obviously got backlash for this. Which it ain't no surprise, man, because everything goes back to the scriptures. And everything explains to you why the world is the way that it is and why the way that it's run. And why it's so wicked now. Okay? The Bible explains all of this and goes into it. And once you understand it, you'll understand the world and why it is the way that it is. Okay? And, Edomite's parents have a problem with their kids learning so-called Black history, which only goes as far back as slavery. That's like if you didn't exist prior to that. Okay, you had a whole culture, tradition, nationality that isn't black, that isn't African American, that isn't Negro, but that goes back to the Hebrew Israelites of the Bible, man. Okay, that is your history. And that is what they took from you. Okay? Let's go to the book of Psalms 83rd chapter. Psalms 83. And I'm going to start at 2. It says, For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So get what? The Most High has enemies. The Most High have people that hate him. Verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, a possessive word, because the Most High has a specific chosen people, which are the Israelites, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So guess what? All these nations that are not the Israelites, alright, they plotted and they schemed of a way to cut us off from our power, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which is his true name, and his son's name is Yahushai. Alright, for us to forget those names. Okay, and that our name may no more be in remembrance. Okay, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, alright, the so-called white people, the Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the Hagarenes, which are Hamites, alright, the real Africans. And then the list goes on, all these nations. Okay, look what it says. God implored to confound his enemies. This is the title of the chapter. So the Most High has enemies, and they're still here today. And guess what? They're ruling over the Israelites. So who's in power? Who's in rulership? And who's at the bottom? And why? Okay, all the answers are in these scriptures, man. Alright, and the prophets have been bringing these things out for years now. And guess what? There's a lot of censorship going on right now. So I see this whole thing coming down to the famine of the word. But I'm just speaking as a man. But anyway, let's go back to this article. Let me see. Just start reading at the top of the screen here. It says, I believe that all of us, this is the principal speaking, and especially our children need to participate in Black History Month and in the process to learn how to appreciate and love those who may be different than us. Hirakawa wrote according to KSL. And they don't care about this shit, man. They don't care about us. Even before the protest of 2020 against police brutality or a global pandemic disproportionately affecting black people, right? Like if we're the only ones suffering from the pandemic in a big number, in a big way. There were growing pushes to incorporate Black history into school curriculums outside of February. Actually, you know what? I guess that's enough of this article. We get the point, right? We get the point of this. Alright, all this goes back to the hatred that they have for our people. Okay? And to be honest, all this Black history stuff is wicked, man, because all they talk about is Martin Luther King and Harriet Tubman. Like if they're the only so-called black people that ever lived and that was so-called important to them and to this country, and the way they like narrate it and push it out. Okay, but your history goes way back before. Okay, your history goes way back, man, way back. And guess what? Um, these so-called white people in these other nations, when they took over us time and time again, in many time periods, they took our temple over, they took the spoils, they took our land, and now they push us out, and they call us immigrants and aliens and Indians and savages, and they supposedly came over here and civilized us, you know, claiming, you was claiming to be a Christian with all that, and then you put us in slavery. Okay, you came over here, you took the so-called Native American Indians' land and the Latino tribes that was here as well, or so-called Latino, alright, which are the Northern Kingdom. Alright, you took over all their stuff. You brought smallpox, you brought disease, alright, with your dirty, filthy selves, and you damn near massacred a whole nation. And now, what? You got the Native Americans in the reservations, man, poor, drunk and drugged up, in the streets, depressed, while you're still reaping the benefits of slavery. Then you're shooting down the Southern Kingdom down in the streets. Every week is a new report of how cops shot somebody or did something harmful to the Southern Kingdom, man. Then you got the so-called Latinos in the immigration cells. Are the kids getting raped by Edomites, not getting fed, just locked up in cages all day. These are the people that put us in slavery, man. There's the same people back here today. Nothing new under the sun. Okay. Let's get the book of Nahum, chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, "Woe to the bloody city, it is all full of lies and robbery, the prey departeth not." So destruction to the bloody city. America is a bloody city. Okay, it was funded off the blood, sweat, and tears of the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indians. They built this country from the ground up. Alright, off the labor of us. Alright, it is all full of lies and robbery. Why is it all full of lies and robbery? Because the so-called founding fathers of this land were Edomites. Alright, that's a lie. First of all, they robbed it from the Israelites. But do they tell you that in your black history? No, they don't. The prey departeth not. That's you Israelites, man. Alright, because Esau Edom is the predator on this side, man. Okay, let's continue on. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 12. It says, "Woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establisheth a city by iniquity." So destruction to him that buildeth a town with blood. Alright, Esau Edom built this country and this whole world off of blood by them taking over their lands. Alright, taking over their governments, making them be under their policy, things like that. and establish a city by iniquity. They established the city by wickedness, iniquity, and all types of evil ways, man. Alright. Let's continue on. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 10, and verse 8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So because of the unrighteous dealings of Esau, Edom, because of his injuries and his riches got by deceit, alright, the kingdom is going to be taken from him, and it's going to be translated from their people onto the Israelites. Alright, it talks about in Job how when he is full, then shall he be in straits and vomit up all that he has. Alright, so everything that he has, all his gold, his money, and his treasures, he's basically just saving it for us, pretty much, when you really think about it, because they don't do nothing with it. They just got it locked up in a vault and make the whole world use paper fiat currency that isn't backed up by anything. Alright, this is the book of 1 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. Okay, so the heathen opened this book up, and then they painted their images to be as if they were the people of God. And now you just go into any church, and guess what? The son of God is a so-called white man with long hair and blue eyes and so-called white skin. Alright, when the book of Revelations, the first chapter, lets you know how he looks, and its description and the illustration of how he looks. Okay, but according to Esau, Edom, and all these churches, the angels are all Edomites with leprosy. Alright, all the prophets were had leprosy and pale skin. In the Middle East, where it's extremely hot. Alright, but guess what? They don't go on and explain that in Black History Month, do they? They don't teach you this in the school curriculum, do they? No, they don't. Alright, and all of a sudden they got a problem with learning, well, so-called Black History Month, but at the same time, fuck Black History Month, because that ain't even our history that they go into, man. Our history is in this Bible, man. This Bible is our history. Okay? So let's continue on. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and verse 33. It says, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel, alright, which is the northern kingdom, and the children of Judah, which is the southern kingdom, were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So that's going on here in America. Esau, Edom is oppressing the children of Judah and the children of Israel, the southern and the northern kingdom. Alright, because they know who the Israelites are, and they want to keep us oppressed, and they want to keep you stupid, and they want to destroy you and kill you. That's why they want to push this jab on you more than anybody else on the planet. Everything's aimed to give it to you, and you're let as a sheep to the slaughter. Alright, but you know, we gotta learn all your history that's fake history, and you know, we gotta learn what you give us in the school and education systems. But you got a problem with learning so-called Black History Month. Like, you gotta be kidding me, man. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 9 and verse 6. It says, and a bastard shall dwell in Ashdod, and I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. Alright, so, bastard. Let's see what this definition says. A bastard, and it's the Hebrew word mamzareh, child of incest, illegitimate child. Okay, so an illegitimate child shall be born in shall dwell in Ashdod. Let me say that correctly. Shall dwell in Ashdod. Alright, let's go to it's Ashdod, you say. Well, Ashdod is the 6th largest city and the largest port in Israel. Alright, Ashdod is located in the southern district of the country and on the Mediterranean coast, where it is situated between Tel Aviv to the north and Ashkelon to the south. Okay, so it's in Israel, it's in the Holy Land. Alright, the promised land. So the scriptures prophesy of the Most High bringing his children, his people back into their land where he promised them. And that there would be peace on earth, that nation wouldn't rise against nation. Okay, and that the streets was going to be made in gold, and that the heathen and the other nations will be our servants, and that we be ruling them with a rod of iron. Alright, so if those are the people of the land, then that would make all those prophecies true. But what do you got going on today? You got nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There is no peace on earth. Alright, there's a whole pandemic. There's a whole recession. There's the second depression that's going on now. But we're in the kingdom of heaven according to Esau, Edom. Right? You see the madness behind all this? Okay. Let me see. Let's get another one and we could end it off here. So let's get the book of Judith in the 1611, and we'll go to the 5th chapter. Alright, Achior knows the history of the Israelites. This is Judith 5 and 5. Then said Achior, the captain of all the sons of Ammon, let my lord now hear a word from the mouth of thy servant, and I will declare unto thee the truth concerning this people which dwelleth near thee, and inhabiteth of hill countries, and there shall no lie come out of the mouth of thy servant. These people are descended of the Chaldeans, and they sojourned before Mesopotamia, because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea. For they left the way of their ancestors, and worshipped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia, and sojourned there many days. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt and were increased with gold and silver, and with very much cattle. So, Achior is explaining to Holofernes, alright, the captain of the Assyrians, because they were going to war, right? And he wanted to conquer the children of Israel. He wants to know who the F are the Israelites. Alright, and then Achior is basically breaking it all down. Like, whoa, these are these people, they came from here, and they came there, and they serve Yahweh. Alright, so continuing on. Let me see. Where was I at? In verse 10 it says, "But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down to Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude, so that one could not number their nation. Therefore the king of Egypt rose up against them, and dwelt subtly with them, and brought them very low, with laboring in brick, and made them slaves." Right? Because Egypt, right? The Egyptian slavery. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues, so that the Egyptians cast them out of their sight. And the God dried the Red Sea before them, and brought them into Mount Sinai and Kadesh Barn, and cast forth all that dwell in the wilderness. Alright, so it's basically breaking all the history down, right? So let's jump down to the point in verse 17 through 20. Yeah. So it says, "While they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them." So when we're following the statutes, laws, and commandments, and we're serving the Lord with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, we're in the good graces, the Most High sets us up on high, right? Deuteronomy 28:1, "If you will diligently hearken and serve the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, he will set thee above all the nations, and set thee up very high." That's what he said. Alright. Verse 18, it says, "But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities were taken by the enemies." Okay, so it's what Deuteronomy 28:15. "If thou wilt not hearken to serve, or to hear, or to listen, or to obey the Lord, and the way which he commanded to go, then all these curses shall surely come and overtake thee." Right? That's what it says, roughly paraphrasing. Verse 19, "But now are they returned to their God, and are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate. Now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin, and let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them, and their God before them, and we become a reproach before all the world." So this is what Esau, Edom, and these other nations want for us: to be in sin against our God, and to be in error. For us to be in error, and for us to be in sin against our God, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Alright, so that's why they want to censor everything. That's why so many brothers' pages are getting clipped. That's why they want to control everything, to keep you in the dark, to keep you sinning. That's why you have your Cardi B's, your Lil Wayne, your Futures, your Drake. Okay, all these people are set up, they're sellouts, to keep you in sin and in error. Okay, to keep you in darkness, because they don't want you to know that you're the son of the living God, the prince of the power of the air, the God that created heaven and earth. He doesn't want you to know that, because then that would be their downfall. That would be their ruin. Alright, so I'm gonna end it there. Lord willing, that was an edifying lesson, and as always, honor, glory, and praises goes to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Until next time, Shalom.